Good morning, everyone. This week's Torah portion is Tetzaveh. And I wanted to begin today and really spend most of the time focusing on just the first line. It's just creates an amazing world that is uncovered in the context of the book of Exodus, Shemot, and also I think that just speaks directly to our lives and our situation. The first, I'll give a little bit of a background, that this week's Torah portion is continuing the story of the people wandering in the desert, and they've stopped in the wilderness of Sinai, which is kind of in the shadow of this mountain of enlightenment. And they are on this journey, that really they're being taken on this journey to move, now that they're in a physical safety, in the sense of they're no longer enslaved in a system that operates on enslavement, enslavers and enslavement. They are now in the desert where there's no form, right? There's no form of society. So something new is being birthed. And what the Torah portion is now bringing together, and we'll see this for, I think it's the next 5 Torah portions, the connection between our actions. It started last week and it's continuing this week, the connection between our actions and our heart minds, to create something new, to birth, to rebirth ourselves. And this is such a moment we're at in our own world, right? That, all the old ways are just falling apart. Our very relationship to earth, which is referred to in the very first verse of this parsha, everything is turning upside down and on the edge. And we're struggling to figure out what are the new ways of humans being together, that we can we create, and the key in last week's Torah portion, which was Terumah, and this week's Torah portion has to do with the willing heart mind. The word lev, in the beginning of last week's portion, Terumah, where we were starting to build the center of the human project. The word lev in ancient biblical time wasn't just the physical heart. It was like, like the heart of the matter, the mind heart. Last week, the instruction, the teaching was that to build something new, where the promise of humanity can live, is to start with hearts that are willing. So last week was an exploration of this terumah, of what comes from, what we can build from willing hearts. This week's Torah portion, Tetzaveh, focuses on what can we build with the hearts of wisdom, chokhmah. So the stage is being set to put our actions into the context of consciousness and heart. Like where does our building come from? So willing hearts, and now this week, hearts of wisdom. And what are the actions? And that relates to the Tetzaveh, which is the word in the first verse that I'm going to talk about in a moment. And that is the name the rabbis gave to this portion, has to do with actions that create connection. That is the mind heart of wisdom, is to know, how do we act in ways that create connection? And we'll look at connection to what? And so, and where I get this part in this week's Parsha, about the heart of wisdom it's the line, and you, and it's not completely clear if you look through how this has been interpreted through the ages. Who is the you? You shall speak to all of those who are wise of heart, hearts of chokhmah, whom I have filled with a spirit of chokhmah, with a spirit of wisdom, to clothe those among you. So there's something necessary to birth this new world in the middle of the deserts of our lives, that has to come from this deep place of chokhmah, wisdom. So where are we in the story? Moses and the Yud He Vav He, eternal presence. In our minds, often we say God of the Torah, are both hidden in this week's Torah portion. So everything that's happening here is coming out of this hiddenness. And I take that as thank you. Yes, Torah's compassion. It's so hidden from us. How do we do this? Where do we do this? So everything that's in this Torah portion is coming out of hiddenness. And yet the people know what's hidden. So that's a clue that even in our times when we are all in this sense that we're in some like dark, thick cloud, everything's hidden, our hearts are struggling to have willingness to open. I mean, everything is a struggle. Our hearts are struggling to figure out, well, what is the wisdom? What is the answer? What do we do? Everything is in darkness, and yet we know at least that things are hidden, and we have a sense of what is in the hiddenness. So this is a way that Torah, I think, is very compassionate toward the human situation, that here's this whole story unfolding that Moses and Yud He Vav He are both hidden. So Torah is the narrator. And wow, we're getting an idea of what is this Torah in this tradition. It's somehow there is this awareness that comes out of the hiddenness and speaks to us. So there's a beautiful, I think, encouragement to us. Don't give up. Even though everything is in a dark cloud, we don't even know if our own hearts are willing. What we know, that's what we need. So just knowing that is the crack where the light comes in, as Rabbi Leonard Cohen's song goes. So Moses and Yud He Vav He are hidden in this cloud on Mount Sinai, and we humans can't see into the thickness of the cloud. And yet here's this story where Torah is narrating. And just to give a little more reminder context, Tetzaveh, it's one of the 5 parshiot sections in the Torah, in Exodus, in which this Yud He Vav He, we believe it's the voice of Yud He Vav He, or Moses believes it, or Torah certainly believes it, is setting forth detailed loving actions for the whole community, which are instructions for how we build and maintain a sanctuary, a mishkan, a sanctuary for enlightened consciousness, to travel in our midst, to reside in us, right? B'tocham, as we journey through this wilderness of life that we've been given. So this phrase Tetzaveh, it reveals to us that our daily actions, because Tetzaveh, Tzav, Tzavta, it's a very action-oriented, it's something that's action-oriented. It's going to be traveling with us and reminding us that our actions matter. And that rituals, this next few parshiot about what's going on in the building, this collective building of this sanctuary, everything is super ritualized, and everyone is contributing to what is needed, how to clothe people, how to prepare the priests for the ritual. It's all, everything becomes revealed, the consciousness becomes raised through collective ritual, something that as we walk, several of us on this call are in New York City, as we walk through New York City and we see how shattered, scattered, separated everyone is. For me, it's crying out for collective ritual. We need to be involved in collective endeavors to find our way out of this dark cloud that we're in now. So the first word of the parsha is the vav, which means and then it's ata, and you. And it's not clear who is the you. And I love, if you're familiar with Norman Fisher, a Zen poet and teacher who has published a beautiful book about the Psalms called Opening to You, and he capitalizes the Y. And it's a kind of a lot like Martin Buber, the relationship, the you, like who is the you? So the you is what emerges from our relationship with the higher consciousness. And so it could be seen as God is speaking to Moses. It could be speaking as we're all hearing this voice from the dark cloud, but it's, and you shall tetzaveh. So I want to take this as we shall tetzaveh. And as we've seen, even with the word Elohim and so many words in Torah, we can translate things as singular or plural or both. And we can do that with this you. You shall tetzaveh. So from this unseen dark place, this dark cloud, the parsha begins with the word atah. An entity or an energy addressed as you. And this you, as we go through the portion, you could see it's both giving the instruction and receiving the instruction, because this is all new territory, right? We're not that far out of the book of Genesis, where out of formlessness came human form. So it's all new. And now we're learning along with the big you, the little yous, that's us, you all, we all are learning what is it that we are to build collectively? How are we to live on earth? And so we're both receiving and instructing, being prepared. The you is being prepared. This is in the sense that the you could be Moses, being prepared to deliver an instruction, to deliver a tetzaveh. Tetzaveh, you will do an action that will connect you to the collective. So there's so much in this Tetzaveh. And just a little bit, I was looking at the Zohar. I've been studying the Zohar in a class going on online. In the Zohar, on this Tetzaveh, Rabbi Shimon, who's one of the groups in the Chavaya, says that the and you means including the Shekhinah. So this whole Mishkan, sanctuary, that's often translated as tabernacle, which sounds like a Greek word. And I meant to look up a little bit more about the origin of tabernacle. Maybe somebody could share a little bit about that later. But what at least in the translations here, and I believe in the Christian theological world, this Mishkan is translated as a tabernacle. But it's Mishkan is connected to the word, the sanctuary for the Shekhinah, the imminent immanence of the divine, that we need to be with us in all moments if we are to be more than just shells. So Rabbi Shimon in the Zohar says the and you, that the you is repeated twice. Once it's buried in the verb form of Tetzaveh, and once it's in the ata, which means you, is saying it's the people and the Shekhinah, or it's Moses and the Shekhinah. Rabbi Yitzhak, another rabbi, these rabbis are just wandering around in conversation about what Torah means, just like what we're doing, believes that the you refers to this upper light and lower light, that there's two yous, because what has to happen for us to build the heart of a new society, the heart of the world that we want, is we have to bring together these two lights, the upper light and the lower light. And the upper light is where the sun lives, and the lower light is where the moon lives, and that this coming together of the sun and the moon, and there's something having a lot to do with shadow here, right? That's what the two yous mean. And you shall build the tabernacle. It's like the sun and the moon, higher consciousness, lower consciousness. And as I said in the beginning, the you also refers to the heart, the quality of heart that we need, which is the wisdom heart. So I think that in the way the rabbis and the way that we can look at what is this you who has to come together, who has to unify to create the world that we could survive in and thrive in, has to bring together a heart, create a unified heart that has no borders in it, a heart that doesn't distinguish in terms of our wisdom and our care and our love. It's got to bring together the divine love and the love in our day-to-day works. That is what is needed, a unified heart. And there's a lot in the Zohar about heart and all these mystical concepts that I don't think we have time, sadly, to go into that. So I'm going to move from this you, like, and you shall take these actions, to the Tetzaveh. This is the action, what we shall do to build this. And Tetzaveh is, you might hear a little bit, it's related to the word for mitzvah. So one interpretation of you shall Tetzaveh is you shall mitzvah. That for those who are, especially in our very sort of, I guess, what you'd call religious traditions, who saw the mitzvot performing these acts that bring us closer. These performing these mitzvot through your day, right? At least 100 of them, at least 100 of the 613 that are found in Torah, that it's a performing of mitzvot with a unified consciousness, with willingness and with wisdom, that is the action that will connect us to the divine, and create for ourselves, make of ourselves this mishkan, so that the divine will live in us, through us, and in our actions. The word Tetzaveh, mitzvah, we've heard it in tzav, command. It's all often translated as, I don't think that really gets it. They're all from this Aramaic word, and the root of which is savta, which means to attach or join. So I like to think of mitzvot as actions that bring us closer, actions that can help us connect to a greater, higher wisdom. And, oh, I'm getting the time thing. So the first Tetzaveh I really want to get to in this, the beginning act in this week's Parsha of creating the actions that we will do, is the lighting of the Ner Tamid. And lighting is, this is how it's spoken about, but that even doesn't get it when you look at the Hebrew. The first Tetzaveh, the act of, is an act of connection or connectedness or connecting. And it's this action that connects Moses and the Shekhinah and all of us who participate. It connects light and dark. It connects male and female, and all of these concepts are deep in our tradition. So these Tetzaveh is again creating this unified consciousness that doesn't put up borders or walls between what you care about, what aspects of life you value. So the first act in the first sentence, you shall Tetzaveh, is to create, to ascend to an always light. It's an ascension of our consciousness. This is the light of consciousness, of higher consciousness, to build the Mishkan. And I just, what the Zohar says about this Ner Tamid is so interesting. It says it's the unification of our neshama, right, our souls, and the eternal, the ruach, the spirit. So it's ner, is the nun, and the ruach is the resh sound. Ner is like an acronym of neshama ruach. So the first beginning of the rituals, and what the Mishkan is connecting is our souls with this everlasting Ruach spirit. And the way that we have to do this is by preserving the olive trees. And I just really want to highlight this, because this very beginning is saying what is right relationship that we have to be in nature. It's by looking deeply and seeing all the conditions necessary to preserve olive trees. And I've been thinking all week about this Parsha and about my times in Palestinian villages on Tu B'Shvat, where I went with Rabbis for Human Rights year after year to protect and witness the destruction of olive trees in the name of our Torah. And I just really want to say, look at our Torah. Our Torah is saying we need this pure olive oil to build a Mishkan. And that means that we need to include everyone who has taken care of these trees for hundreds, thousands of years. There are olive trees in East Jerusalem. I've seen them that are more than 1,000 years old, that have been nourished and protected, right, by other peoples on the land. This Mishkan is to create connection between all of us, and to not create walls or barriers in your heart. And I wanted to end, I spent this week traveling around New York City with the Combatants for Peace delegation, and one of the Israeli combatants, Iris Gur, she ended her talks by putting her hands into this formation. So I want to invite everybody to hold this Ner Tamid, this light of consciousness in your arms, in your hands. And she said that everywhere she was traveling in the US, she's going to mainly synagogues, people are saying, how do we find hope? How do we find light? And she said that we keep this light lit. We're here to protect the light, from the wind, from the rain, from people who might try to blow it out. We're here to just protect it, so that when conditions are ready, when people are ready, they can come and light their light with our light. that this is the Ner Tamid. So I just want to bless us that our Torah is in service of keeping this light going, not letting it go out, keeping it in our own hearts, and really using it to create, to unify our world. Thank you.
Amen.